Good morning, folks. It's Jim here with Eli, and it's Sports with Mono and Mono. It's May 24th, 2025, and we're very excited to be back. We got a lot of stuff, obviously, to talk about, which we'll get to in a little bit. So, Eli, how you doing this week? You done with
I
high
am
school?
doing good. I'm doing good, and I'm done with high school. Yeah, as you mentioned, thank you, Jim. And we've got the winter coats back on. So it's not as we're not going forward with the summer. We're going backwards with the winter.
Yeah,
So it's the unofficial start to winter, not summer.
yeah,
So welcome everybody.
great. Feels that way. So, Eli, as our loyal listeners know, we always start off with our monologue, and this week, it's always a very special day for Sports with Mono and Mono on our show because we honor our servicemen and women, both past and present, and it's Memorial Day. So, we all know that it's a holiday and everyone will have barbecues, but let's not forget the fact of why we have Memorial Day, and it's for those people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country so we can have barbecues and live in the freedom that we enjoy. And it's very important to me, and I know it is to you, to honor those people on Memorial Day. And um, it's just a very, very special day. It's a somber day, but it's the reasons, like I said, Eli, that we enjoy the freedoms that we do, and don't let it get lost. If you see a service member, just shake his hand and say thank you, because that's all we can do, and as they protect us from the evils of the world. And it's a very
Absolutely.
special day to me. And I live right next door to a World War II veteran. He's 98 years old, and you know, it doesn't get any more special than that, certainly to me. And
Yeah.
I
And
hope everybody understands what it's all about. And like I said, it means everything to our show, our servicemen and women, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart.
absolutely. We want to thank everybody for their service and for both current living and non-living. And it is really a special time. And it's more than just Memorial Day is not more it's more than just the official kickoff to summer, the barbecues and the beaches back open again and the boardwalks open again. It's more than that. It's really a special sign that we have to thank those men and women who serve their country, who protect our freedom daily. And when you go to New York, I was in New York this week, seeing all the military members from Fleet Week, from all the ships come out walking around the city. It's so special to see. And it really makes you feel like, wow,
Isn't it?
that's it's amazing to see, like, how loyal they are and how like respectful. It's just a special moment. We cannot thank them enough. And this is really what it's all about,
Yep.
representing those people. It's more than just the kickoff this summer.
Well
Yeah.
said, my friend. Well said. Um, so anyway, let's move on to the business at hand. And this is our
Yes.
weekly show, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And
We
Eli,
got to start off
I
with the
think
comment
it's
though.
only, huh?
It's Diego checking in, saying good morning and hello. Good
I
morning,
know.
Diego.
I thought he'd be watching Real Madrid right now, but you know what? This show
Hey,
takes precedence. So thank
absolutely.
you. Eli, let's obviously start with the NBA, and to be quite
Yes.
honest, it's a very surprising uh,
Turn of
week of
events.
the yeah. I think everybody
Literally.
had the Knicks penciled in, didn't give the Pacers a fighter's chance at all, and they
Right.
come in to Madison Square Garden, steal the first two games, and this is a hole that we're going to find out whether the Knicks are for real, see if they can dig out. Um, in the history of the New York Knicks, they're 0-14 when losing the first two rounds,
Oh, ho,
first two
ho.
games of a playoff series. So that's quite a hole to dig out
Change your
of.
bets, folks.
You know. So
Well,
what were your thoughts on the game, and were you surprised or not surprised?
I think the whole momentum changed after Halliburton made that shot in game one to send it to overtime. I really think that that's when the momentum changed. From that moment, you had no defense happening. They really just they didn't feel like playing at that point. Overtime, the momentum changed. The Garden's noise level dropped. Everybody was in shock. I mean, the odds of that ball going into the basket was slim to none, and so happened.
Yeah.
And then you go to game two. the opportunities the Knicks had, and yet they couldn't execute. It was, again, a very disappointing ride. To me, however, if I look at this series, I think now Indiana, this is their series. They're going to go to the finals at this point, now that they are up 2-0 into the series. However, I do think that the Knicks are going to get a win tomorrow in Indiana in game 3. Why do I say that? Well, yeah, you know that Indiana is the home team. You should be picking them maybe. But if you look at the past rounds that we've had this year, the 2-0 team that is up 2-0 entering game 3 always loses game 3. I'm going to say that it's going to happen again. And I won't be surprised again if the Timberwolves win tonight when they play the Thunder tonight on ABC. Don't be surprised if they get a victory as well. Again, the 2-0 team usually goes down usually in game 3 to make this series more exciting, as you could say, in the end. And so the bettors can lose money, yet win money on those non-favorite teams.
Well, if you take a look at the Knicks and kind of, obviously the key player is Jalen Brunson. And,
correct.
So, this guy has a fire in his belly that, we won't write the Knicks off because you have somebody like that could carry a team on his back. And he does need some supporting help, obviously. And, going through that, basically it was an epic collapse in game 1. It was just almost,
it really was
hard to believe. You're talking about 14 points down with 2.5 minutes, to go.
And they just let him come back like nothing.
They let him in. They let him in. Let him off the hook.
I mean, right from that moment, you could just tell the momentum has just changed in New York, and it's not the same. And we'll see how it happens the rest of the way. To me, like I said, my early prediction, I think Knicks win tomorrow, game 3, but the Pacers win the series overall. That's all I think. I think it's still going to go to 6 games, though.
Yeah, and let's talk about the Western Conference. I mean, this Oklahoma City team, they're the real deal. They had, one of the greatest regular seasons in recent memory, and they got now the reigning MVP, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wins the MVP, and probably rightfully so.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Yeah, and they got
right now the Thunder are just playing good basketball.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
And again, this is, like I said, when you're down 2-0, the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards, they have a good team. And, we certainly know that Edwards is a dynamic player. And, with Randall and DiVincenzo and all the other guys on that team, I don't know that I'd write this series off like I think both of us would the Knicks Indiana series, but they look really, really tough to beat right now. And
they do. Yeah. But again, I still believe in that 2-0 when you're up. You're going to lose game 3. So I'm going to go with Timberwolves again tonight for my upset here. I think don't be surprised. These teams that are down 2-0 in the series get a win tonight and tomorrow. So I'm going to go with Knicks and Timberwolves. Don't be surprised. Timberwolves get a win tonight in this very tough Thunder series.
And just a quick note, because, and it almost, I don't want to say tarnished it, but this Halliburton guy, with the choke sign and all that may have been
it was a little unnecessary.
But
yet again, you had some of the Knicks players last night doing all kinds of signs and stuff after making threes. And in reality, it's the game of basketball. Everyone's going to be, I'm going to use the word cocky. Everybody's going to be cocky in their own way. And it's just how basketball is. And we have a comment, though, from Eric. He says, good morning and happy Memorial Day weekend to all.
Thank you, Eric. And I know he's very special. He has a son in the military, so I know it means a lot to him. And we thank him all the time. He sent me a beautiful card as well on Stephen. But here's the thing I wanted to talk about with Halliburton and that choke sign. It may have been premature, but I hope the Knicks, and I'm going to count on Jalen Brunson to have conveyed this to the Knicks, that don't get down in the mud with these guys with those stupid choke signs. And if the Knicks do come back, I don't want anybody on the Knicks to do that choke sign, because that's stooping to the low that Halliburton exhibited. So I'm counting on Jalen Brunson, who wouldn't do it himself because he's that kind of a leader, but I hope the rest of his team feels the same way. And if you do come back and win this, go with class. don't stoop to that level. That's important to me, and I think it'll be indicative of what type of player Jalen Brunson has been for this New York Knicks team.
There is no question.
Right.
We do have a comment from JR, non-basketball, but he does say, "What do you think about how Travis Hunter has performed so far in the OTA? People are saying that he's not doing so well, but he's still a rookie, and there you think that he's a bust."
It's a little premature to
Too
even get
early.
there, Jr. Don't worry about that. I
Yeah.
know it's it's early. You can't put that kind of
Perspective into play. Yeah.
yeah. It's way too early. You know, he's a very talented player, obviously, and you know he's got a quarterback that's going to utilize him as best they can. And we'll get to the NFL in a little bit,
Yeah.
but
After the first 4 weeks, we could definitely make a comment to say, if he is a bust or not, but it's too early. It's only early weeks of training camp. It's not really underway officially, so
it is.
it's too early to call.
But let's move on to the NHL. And
Yes, and that series also been interesting and heating up in its own way.
yeah, and I guess as you guys know, I mean, I made my prediction because I think the best player in the game is going to get a championship, and that's the Edmonton Oilers. So all my chips are on that side, but the Dallas Stars are a very,
Making
very
it very difficult.
yeah.
And
It's
I'm surprised to even see that we are at a tied 1-1 series in this Western Conference series. I did not expect that personally. I thought it would be like, okay, well, maybe, we'll see the Oilers go out on top of the first two games, or maybe even the Stars. But to have a series tied is pretty crazy. But you know what's surprising? How these two games have resulted in shutout games. For the Oilers last night, it was a 3-0 victory once again for the Oilers. And I believe the previous game as well was also a scoreless game as a shutout game. Sorry, no, it was not. 6-3 was the final. 6-3 was the
yeah,
final. But still, it's
6-3.
kind of interesting to see how you go from a 6-3 victory with the Stars, you go to 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's really interesting.
this is going to be a 7-game series
No
because
question.
that's how NHL hockey is, and
Yeah, in this series, yes. The Florida series, I don't think so.
yeah, we'll talk about that too because they are the defending champs, but they are now up 2-0. I think we all kind of thought if the Panthers got this far in the conference finals,
That they would make
that,
it back.
yeah, that they'll make it back to defend their title, and it would be a great series. I mean, like I said, I'm picking the Oilers, but I'm not going to be shocked if the Dallas Stars get there. So either
Yeah,
way, I
it's
think
be a great series.
yeah, we're going to set up for a great NHL final series,
Yes. And the good
regardless of
news is about the hockey game, though, that for the Western Conference side, that's happening tomorrow at 3 o'clock on ABC. So you get to watch the hockey game in full time without having to switch channels. And then you can watch the Knicks basketball game at nighttime on TNT. So there's no interference. So I love that the smart move by the NHL on what they did. And now with the hockey side of things, let's go back to the Panthers and the Hurricanes. The Panthers are up 2-0 in the series. They played very good hockey. They won the other day 5-2. They win Thursday 5-0. They're just playing good hockey at this point. And I think there's no stopping this Florida team. Now they're going to be home for the next two games. They were previously at Carolina. So this is going to be pretty big for Florida trying to end this series alive. Tonight's game is at 8 o'clock on TNT. Pretty big game for them. We'll see if Florida can get another victory tonight.
yeah, and you see, you could absolutely tell the difference between the Eastern and Western conferences, right? The Eastern Conference is
It's
always
light.
this gritty, tough battling, and
Yeah.
then you have the Western Conference with the Stars and the Oilers. These guys are just high
Playing hockey.
flying, back and forth. It's just
Yeah.
so it's a different dynamic between
Right.
the conferences, which is going to set it up for a great final, regardless of who makes it in the West. But I think you were right, Eli. I think the Florida has this series under control against the Hurricanes, and we'll see about that. But it's
Yeah.
setting up to be really a
A
great,
really good series.
yeah, both of them. Both series.
Other news in the NHL, the Honors are named Matthew Darche as its new general manager and executive vice president. They announced the other day.
Yeah, who is that? I saw something this morning on
He was,
that.
I believe, a former player, and I'm going to give you the facts on him. He is hired general manager. He's 40. Nope, hold on. I'm gonna have to do my research then.
Yeah, that's all right. That's fine.
He worked at Tampa Bay's front office since 2019. Helped the Lightning win 2 Stanley Cups,
Yeah,
according
the
to
Lightning.
ESPN.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. Right. Yeah.
I thought he played.
And that's gonna probably,
Still
when
good though.
when I saw that little blurb, I thought at some point that the Rangers are gonna bring Brendan Shanahan
Yeah,
over to run, and he was, like I said, great player, and
didn't work
you
like
know,
that. Yeah, no.
yeah, won Stanley Cups with the Devils, so he's got the winning pedigree. And he got ousted because Toronto, and again, Toronto, we see it year after year after year after year. They got
Yeah,
a really good team, and we would have loved to have seen Austin Matthews play, and
but it
and,
doesn't happen this time.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't happen. So
And another
look for,
note. Go
yeah,
ahead.
now just look for Shanahan. I think the Rangers, that would be a good fit for them to come
Yeah,
in and be here. Yeah.
absolutely. And one other note. The President's Trophy curse lives on. The Winnipeg Jets were eliminated last week. So just want to point out that it does live on. But hey, what a moment last week for Mark Shevley, who scored a goal on the same day that he learned that his father had passed away. And what a
Yeah.
moment that was. And it was exciting. The NHL world was going crazy about that moment. So good for him. But once again, the curse lives on and it's still the king of the hill,
Yep, and the quest for the hardest trophy to win in sports, the Stanley
the
Cup.
Stanley Cup.
You bet.
All
All right,
right.
Eli, where do you want to go? Let's talk a little bit about the major leagues and baseball, right? The
Yep.
season is well underway, and the Yankees are playing extremely well, although they did lose to the worst team in the league last night. But
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is lighting it up, and the Mets. Maybe the Mets are coming back to earth a little bit.
They were on a slump. I mean, they lose the Yankees series, which was a big series there, 2-1. Uh, they had 2 losses on the year, 2 losses in that series, 1 win out of it. But Juan Soto has really been not helping this Mets team at all. They paid him a lot of money, and what we're seeing here is Juan Soto playing bad baseball and not helping the Mets, but making it worse for the team. That's what we're
Yeah.
looking at here. So once again, are we seeing another curse here? Are we just seeing that you're just going to pay these guys to just play bad baseball? It's
Well,
really
listen,
crazy.
for the amount of money that he's getting, and a lot of people are on him because we've seen a couple of instances of it. He's not hustling. He doesn't seem
Right.
to have that fire like he did when he was playing with Aaron Judge and the Yankees. So
Money is a factor.
right, obviously the guy is a player, right? Is he a
Right.
$700 million player?
No.
I didn't think that at all when they signed him. I thought it
No.
was just outrageous.
The only person I could say that's worth $700 million in this league right now is Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. That is the
Absolutely.
only person. I can't even say Aaron Judge. I cannot.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it almost sounds like this guy is certainly earning that prestige for being the highest paid baseball player of all time. And
Yeah.
him and the Dodgers just keep on rolling. You got Freddie Freeman, who's
They're doing great.
yeah, he's a future Hall of Famer, and obviously Ohtani will be as well. And how about this guy Yamamoto? I mean, he is
really
just
good.
lights out. I mean, the Yankees, they tried hard and pursued him, and they just couldn't sign him. Because it's kind of the West Coast thing and the Asian population probably, but or he wanted to play with the best player in the game and Shohei Ohtani. So
that is true.
Yeah, and one other player that people got to start taking notice of this guy. I mean, I think he was Rookie of the Year actually. Is this Corbin Carroll for Arizona?
Okay. Yeah,
he is becoming one of the up and coming future stars of Major League Baseball, and
yeah, he is.
We don't get to see them play very often, obviously, in the East Coast. But when I do see him play, he just comes up big. He's hitting home runs. He's fast as could be, and just keep an eye on him. He's a great player.
Yeah, he really has been a really good player, and we'll see what happens for him. It's really good though.
Yeah, how about this though too? Also, Ronald Acuna Jr. comes back after the ACL tear. Right, 2 years ago, he was a unanimous MVP. Misses the entire season last year. Comes back. First pitch he faces, hits a home run.
Wow, that is awesome.
And he threw a guy out from right field through a dead line drive throw right to second base, and he gunned him down. So, this is a great sign for the Atlanta Braves, and
Then it's really working out.
now going to have to worry about them more than they thought they would, because the Atlanta Braves with Acuna Jr. are going to be formidable. Obviously, they're going to miss Max Fried, but we got him in New York, and he's pitching lights out. So the Yankees, I think they're doing as well as we could have expected. And obviously, Aaron Judge is carrying him on his back. He's the captain. He's the
That's what he's supposed to do, right?
Right. So he's doing all the things. And don't get me started with the playoff thing. We'll get to that.
I'll keep it quiet for this week, but you know my feelings.
I do. I think all of our audience knows your feelings on it too. So,
all right.
So, but yeah, how about this also? This Colorado Rockies team, they're off to the worst start in baseball history, or at least
9 wins only on the season, 42 losses.
Back in 1895, I think it was Louisville something or whatever. But
it's crazy.
And this is goes back to what we've talked about a lot, Eli, is the markets, and these guys can't afford to pay a Soto, a Judge, a Ohtani, and so forth. And this is the result, because you can't field. Major leagues is the epitome of baseball, and if you can't get you don't have the money to sign these guys, they don't stand a chance. And that's why we see the Dodgers are there, the Yankees are there, and now the Mets are going to be formidable, and they're spending that kind of money. And these other teams, it's no surprise there's going to be more teams like the Colorado Rockies, because they're not going to be able to afford it. So but when you get off to an 8-42 start, I mean, boy, oh boy,
9-42.
Yeah. Oh, they won last night, so they're 9-42.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Right.
JRX, I know it's early in the Major League Baseball season, but do you think the Dodgers could repeat and win back-to-back World Series? It's definitely possible. It's too early to tell, though.
No question about it. They are the team to beat, without question. And now that they got Yamamoto, who is just, it's an automatic win for them. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be the favorites to win. I mean, obviously the payroll is, exorbitant, and they have, but basically an all-star caliber team. So JR, I think they do have probably the best chance to repeat. And I'd love to see a Yankees-Dodgers rematch in the series, and hopefully Mr. Judge can show up and,
that's the only hope. Other than that,
give the Yankees their 28th World Series title. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's much deserved after last year and that struggle.
Right.
Well, let's talk about the Preakness.
Yes. So,
journalism wins.
I think we're doing pretty good. We both had journalism to win last week, and he came in. What a great race, too.
That was really good.
I mean, he came really.
Oscar was in the lead for the entire time, and then all of a sudden, journalism, bam, comes in there. Sandman comes in third. But what a great race, really.
It really was. And it was like a dry track. It was a beautiful day.
Perfect conditions.
In Maryland. And, he showed that he was definitely the best horse in the race. It was obviously a smaller field than the Kentucky Derby. But I'm looking forward. I think you're making your early prediction. I'm going to hold off on giving our audience the winning horse. I think it's a little too early to tell. It's 2 weeks from today. And of course, the Belmont, while Belmont Park is being
renovated, it's at Saratoga.
Yeah, it's at Saratoga.
Yeah, so my early prediction, I think, is journalism once again that wins it all. That's my early prediction, because he was the heavy favorite in the Kentucky Derby. He was really close at winning the Kentucky Derby, but Sovereignty comes in first. And then in the Preakness, he comes out on top. So I look for journalism to win the Preakness. Sorry, not the Preakness, the Belmont. Yes, I'm looking for him in Belmont. And I think if it wasn't for Sovereignty, he could have been another Triple Crown winner, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He really could have been.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to have a Triple Crown winner this
No,
year, but
because he didn't qualify for the Preakness, or not
yeah, but
qualify. He didn't qualify.
it certainly doesn't diminish the Belmont Stakes. And like I said, it's unusual, obviously, that it's not being run at Belmont Park, and it's a mile and a half at Belmont Park, and
Yeah,
that's why it was so difficult to win the Triple Crown.
right.
But the best place of all to run, if you're not going to run it at Belmont, is Saratoga. 'Cause
Saratoga,
Saratoga is one
the
of the
best
most
place to
beautiful
go.
racetracks in the country. Great, great
Absolutely.
stuff.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna go to the WNBA real quick,
Okay.
because it's been exciting. The Liberty are up to a 2-0 start. They raised the banner last Saturday, and in a great game versus Chicago, Minnesota, they got a victory. They're not Minnesota, not get victory. Minnesota's in the leaderboard right now, 4-0 on the season. They hold the best record currently in the WNBA, followed by the Liberty, who still remains perfect at 2-0. Today's
Mhm.
national TV lineup at 1 o'clock on CBS, a fantastic game. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and Ionesco and the Liberty. What a great game. 1 o'clock on CBS. If you're not watching any sports, not going to the movies or anything, or not doing anything, watch that game because it's going to be a great game. You're going to want to hear about it. Great game to watch. Followed by at 3 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, Dallas and Atlanta. And on the first game back for Caitlin Clark, a triple double and a fantastic game versus Angel Reese. What a great game was. And just like that, WNBA basketball is back.
Yeah,
And
and there
Caitlin
was
Clark
a
is still on the
little
roll.
right. There was a little incident with Caitlin
Yep.
Clark and Angel Reese, right?
Yes.
So maybe there's a little resentment that she's getting all of the press, and I think that could be contributing to it. But I think they'll settle down, and I guess the WNBA. What is
It's
it? A
back.
50 game season or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But
Something
I
like
just want to make a correction. Liberty played Las Vegas, not Chicago last week. I read Chicago. It was Las Vegas.
And Vegas is the defending champ,
Aces. No,
right?
Liberty is.
Oh, the Liberty won it. That's right. You're
Yes.
right.
We got a championship here in New York. Can't even not forget that.
How could I forget? I stand corrected here.
All right. Well, let's go to the NFL real quick. There are a couple notes, not too many, but there's some stuff to talk about.
Yep.
One big storyline of the week, the NFL players can now officially compete in Olympic flag football games starting with the 2028 LA games. So that's exciting stuff for the NFL and the Olympics. However, if they get injured, don't want to hear it. That's my note.
And you can guarantee that somebody's
going to get injured.
Somebody will tear an ACL and a flag.
And then every single
game.
NFL fan is going to start crying. I know how it is. Absolutely. Everybody's going to say it's so great right now. It's so great. And then when it actually happens, everybody's going to be so upset when it happens.
Yep.
Other news, 49ers extend Fred Warner's contract to a 3-year, $63 million deal. Big one there.
Highest paid linebacker in the league now.
Yeah. And a shocker here. I'm sorry. Now, before I get to the shocker, Eagles signed head coach Nick Sirianni's contract for another couple years. So he's going to remain a Philadelphia Eagle. And here's my big shocker for the week. The Browns signed Shedeur Sanders for a very low 4-year, $4.6 million deal. Wow. I did not expect that low.
Well, what makes it so shocking, Eli, is that he was making more money at Colorado with nil than he is as an NFL player right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
When I read that, I was like, what?
But that's what a fifth round guy gets. And, on the other side of the spectrum, look at the guys that went before him in the first round. They got paid. Cam Ward signs his rookie deal, $48 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. Giants signed Abdul Carter to a $45 million fully guaranteed contract. So, what a difference between being a first round pick and a fifth round pick.
That is incredible. We have a new comment coming in. Bijan says, greetings from Thailand. Wow, thanks for tuning in.
Wow, from Thailand. Bijan, thank you. Glad to hear we're going global now. This is great. I love it.
Yeah. That's incredible. All right. Well, any other notes in the NFL?
Also, Eli.
Yeah,
I got a note. Probably the biggest story of all, right? The tush push lives on.
I know, it stays alive. Yeah. And the vote came down close.
I don't know. Listen, it's such a non-real issue that every team can do it. So it doesn't, why are they singling out the Philadelphia Eagles
because they
like
are the
they're
one
the
who
only
started it.
team that can do it? It's so
Right.
silly. But you
And
know what?
that I didn't even want to bring it up because you know why? Because it was just it's so dumb, really. We're fighting because the successful play can't happen because one team can nail it down and the other one can't. That oh, you know what? I want to ban it now. It's not fair. That was never a play before, should never be allowed. Really? Are you kidding me?
And we've
I
been
mean, I
doing
can't stand that. I mean, the tush push is a good play, and if it works for a team, it works, and if it can't work for your team, that's tough for you. You got to work better. I mean, really, it's the bottom line. It's a normal play, just like anything else. There was, I don't know what was the need for a vote. What was their need to get rid of it? And for the teams that voted disagree, I know Seattle was the team that said they don't want it. They want it banned. Really, really,
well.
it
Listen,
just because it doesn't work for you, the other
they've
teams
been
it
doing
does.
they've been
Start
they've
working
been
harder
doing
this offseason.
they've been doing quarterback sneaks forever. I guess the
Yes.
difference is the guys from behind actually pushing him and assisting, in that
Who
thing.
cares? It's a
So
successful play, and let the other guys get some time in and play. It's a good
I
play.
agree. I agree. It's really a non-issue, but they made it a big issue, and
That they make an issue, but the flags and the referees and stuff, we're not making that an issue. It's
yeah,
just all right.
yeah.
It's just the silly
Um,
things, the little things.
right. So I guess we're underway, right? So the rookies had some OTAs, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna get like I said, when you look at the rookie class that's coming out, and Abdul Carter is what you would call a can't miss guy, and Cam Ward could be the next
Yeah.
CJ Stroud and come in, and so we're gonna see. And then we're really early in the season, but a lot of people are already thinking that maybe Jaden Daniels in Washington
Yeah.
could possibly fall into the sophomore slump like CJ Stroud did a little bit.
Yeah, but again, I don't think so. Here's my reasons why. I mean, remember, in the NFC East, there has never been a repeating division winner. So we know it ain't gonna be Philadelphia. It ain't gonna be the Giants. I doubt it'll be Dallas, so it's got to be Washington. The script
Yeah,
is saying it's got to be Washington. So I don't see this slump happening, at least just this year. Maybe next
yeah,
year, but not this year, I don't see. We do have a comment
I,
though
I
from JR.
agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. I think he's a different breed. He just had this incredible presence and leadership skills, and I don't think he's going to be
Not yet.
susceptible to the sophomore thing.
Not yet. Maybe in the third year, but not now.
I know.
JR says, what do you all think about the NFL playoffs and them not changing the seeding system of the playoffs? Well, I think right now it's working. I have no issues with the playoff seedings or anything. I think there's nothing to argue about. College
Mhm.
football, on the other hand, that's a different argument for a different day. The NFL, I think it's working fine. I got no issues with it.
Yeah, well, the college football, yeah. So there was a lot of controversy about, conference winners getting games, and very similar to the NFL when a team with a worse record than an opponent has a home game. Yeah, that could be tweaked a little bit. I don't know how you do it, but
Yeah,
yeah, we've seen that, and that's a topic of conversation
right.
that will never go away
But
unless
the
they
college
change the
football is
rules.
definitely right now the worst one, though, if you look at it compared to the NFL. I think the NFL's got a perfect system, not perfect system, but a decent system right now that could last a couple more years. But college football, giving them a bye and then having all four teams lose in the next round, because that's usually how it is, it's a lot of time off. I don't know. It's not working out for me. And especially that it's all the best teams that get the bye. I want to see them
Mhm.
more. I want to see them compete more. I don't like that at all. This whole
Yeah.
bye system. I think that could change in the college football side of things. NFL, no, I think it's going. I think so far so good. I got no issues.
Yeah, and then if you look at the college playoff last year, I mean, I think clearly the best team won the national championship.
Correct.
So overall, maybe the seedings were a little off kilter, but Ohio State was clearly the team to beat, and they didn't get beat, and they were national champions. But
Yeah.
keep in mind, Ryan Day has not beaten Michigan, so this is although they won a national championship, it's almost remember beating Michigan is just as important than
As
winning
anything
as
else.
winning
Yep.
a national championship. And if he doesn't beat Michigan this year, look out. He's
Yeah.
the alumni don't stand for that stuff. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's time now for some random points.
Okay.
And that is
And that's-
sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
Yes. And just speaking of Lynch Toyota, so I got a little package. It's one of my random points yesterday that President Lynch of Lynch Toyota sent me a Toyota hat, and he sent me, and this is for you too, Eli. He sent me the
keys
book.
to a new car.
No, I wish. No, but he sent me an autographed copy of Jeff Benedict's book. It's a New York Times bestseller book called The Dynasty, and it's about the New England Patriots and Bob Kraft, and of course Belichick and Brady, and both of them participated in the book. So I'm anxious to read that.
That's great.
And he got it signed. I think Jeff Benedict spoke at a conference that Mike was at, and Mike went up to him and he asked him to sign our book, and it was to Sports with Mono and Mono.
That's awesome.
Right? So
that's great.
That's for you too, my friend.
That's great. I love to hear it. That's awesome.
So I'm gonna
the way you're hyping it up, I was like, it's got to be a pair of keys. I was like, that car's on its way. That's awesome for Jim. Nope.
but you know what?
That's a better gift, though. I'll take that. That's good.
But this was really I meant to bring it up. I'd love to have Jeff Benedict on after I read it, to be quite honest.
Who cares? Absolutely, yeah.
But he said 2 Sports with Mono and Mono, go Patriots, which
you gotta show the book now, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a very special gift from Mike, and I'm going to read the book, and when I read it, I'll certainly give a review, and I'm sure
bring it up on the show.
Yeah, it's interesting reading. I can guarantee it. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, let's a couple other quick random points.
Yep. I got a ton. Go for it.
Yep, PGA Championship, right? Scotty Scheffler, that was our pick.
Again.
You know, and he's just playing out of his mind. It's really great to see, and you even saw a little bit of emotion at him. He was so excited. He threw his hat to the ground, and you know, he's has a calm demeanor. But this was very, very special, and he's on his way to becoming one of the all-time greats. You know, he's only 28 years old. He's got 2 green jackets and now a PGA championship.
And he didn't get arrested this time. Isn't that great?
You had to throw mud on it, didn't you?
Right? I had to. It was the most memorable moment in sports. You have to throw it in there.
And I know it's premature to say, and we've seen guys come up, and but you know, he is the next guy that is going to win the Grand Slam, meaning all 4 majors at some point in his career.
Absolutely.
I can't see that not happening. So congratulations to him. And
it's going
like
great.
I said, he was in my niece's kindergarten class. So I looked at the picture yesterday, and there he is, Scotty Scheffler, at all of 5 years old in Montvale, New Jersey. How about
that? I didn't know that. Oh, that's great. What a fun fact.
It was. So a couple other quick little notes. So you did bring up Shedeur getting 4.6 mil, but like I said, it's less than the nil money. And there's one thing though. This is starting to drive me a little bit crazy. Is this? And we put up the picture of Belichick and his girlfriend Jordan Hudson, right? She is just an absolute lunatic, and she you know, fact that he's 72, she's 23, 24, whatever it is.
I think it's just hilarious.
She's actually trying to call the shots. That's why HBO canceled the Hard Knocks at University of North Carolina. She wanted to be a part of this and have editorial rights. I mean, what are we talking about here? This is nonsense. You know, this is actually tarnishing the legacy of Bill Belichick. This controlling,
you know what? HBO is just the Hard Knocks is just a more pain on the team. Yeah, more stress because now you have cameras really watching you more than ever before. So honestly, it's okay that it's gone, but it's all for fun. I think that's hilarious though, with everything going on, really.
Oh God, but I can just this woman is driving me insane. Like, you know, it's almost like she's making news instead of him going to North Carolina. That's
not the news anymore. No.
Yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, And one other thing, this is for our Indiana fans. I know we have Derek Krug, big Indiana guy, Tom Pugh,
Yeah.
loyal listener as well, big Indiana fan. So I saw that, some guy came out with his preliminary, who's the best quarterback coming up in college football this year. And they picked this guy, Fernando Mendoza, transfer from Cal
Yeah.
to Indiana. And look, Indiana's a really, really good football team now. So, that's a name people probably haven't even heard, Fernando Mendoza, but keep an eye on him going into this, the 25 season. It should be
That's great.
exciting. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Eli, go ahead. You got points.
All right, here we go. After 23 seasons and 4,953 episodes, the only sports game show that no one understood but loved, Around the Horn, has come to an end. Friday was its season finale on ESPN, and as of right now, SportsCenter will be taking over the 5 p.m. time slot, which was originally Around the Horn. PTI remains at 5:30, then another edition of SportsCenter. This could change ultimately in the fall when the NFL goes into its peak. Maybe we'll see NFL Live go to 90 minutes. We're not sure yet, but these are all just predictions at the moment. But we do know SportsCenter is heading to 5 o'clock for a 30-minute show before it's our show at 6 o'clock.
And I think what happened, because I told you I listen to the Boomer and Geo show.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, I know. Yep.
And I always like Tony Kornheiser, so I watch Pardon the Interruption. So
yes,
I think that moved to 6 o'clock. Am I right about that?
No, I think right now it's staying at 5:30. It could get moved to 5 o'clock. These are all just predictions at the moment right now.
Okay, but that's actually, like I said,
that's a good show. I can watch that anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, Kornheiser he's funny, he's interesting, and
it's a good program.
He's been doing this forever, so that's one of the few shows. Nothing compares, obviously, to Sports with Mono and Mono, but
absolutely, but it's a good show, though. Yeah,
yeah. But
some unfortunate news for fans: Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks have canceled their upcoming concert and tour schedule that includes August 8th here at MetLife Stadium. And this is due to Billy Joel's health. That was really a big concern. We're sending Billy Joel the best.
Yeah, sure.
The U.S. Treasury announced that they'll stop making the penny coins as soon as the current material supply runs out. And there it goes. The penny's gone. What else comes next with it?
Right. I guess there goes the phrase save your pennies, right?
Yeah, no more about that. Nope.
Right.
Scott Hansen will return to host the Peacock Olympic Gold Zone show. That is the Olympic Red Zone style show. He'll return for the 2026 Milan Winter Olympics. With everything going on PBS, Sesame Street announced that they'll be coming to Netflix. New episodes will air on Netflix as well as on PBS on the same day, happening later this year. This is a big deal for Netflix to try to not only grow their platform, but to also save Sesame Street, which in a sense was potentially in danger with PBS potentially going downhill with the whole government stuff. So this is good for both Sesame Street and Netflix indeed. And right now it'll still stay on PBS, but until something could happen though with PBS, as we all know.
Okay.
As of last Sunday at 6:30 p.m., New Jersey Transit and the Union reached a deal, but trains did not resume until Tuesday. But at least a deal was reached. It wasn't too long. So that's some exciting news.
Yeah.
And the last
guess who's going to pay the increased fares? You and I.
You and I and everybody else watching at home.
Yep.
Finally, we don't talk about politics, but this was a pretty sad to hear. Former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. We send the former president well wishes and all the best.
Yeah. And I have one other thing I wanted to bring up, and you and I mentioned it a little bit to you early on, and I had gotten an email from a young man named Eddie Mott who grew up in our neighborhood, and we played football, and he played football with Steven. He was Steven's age, and he's apparently a writer, and he sent me just a wonderful little clip. I would like to try to see if we could post it on Instagram or something to see. But, going back, and like I said, all of the accolades that Steve had, and, this goes back to like when he was 12 years old. And there was a kid on the team who wasn't, he was on the team, but he wasn't a great, almost like a Rudy story. And Steven took this kid under his wings and made him a football player. And the article he wrote, that Eddie wrote so eloquently, was,
awesome.
He basically said, this is the kind of impact that your little brother had on all of us growing up, not only in sports, but in life. And it was very special. and I'm going to send it to Eli, and somehow
We'll work it out. Yeah.
yeah, we'll figure out how to post it. Well written article. It was just, this was almost a single game 45, 50 years ago. It was amazing. Great story. And it
That's
almost
awesome.
brought me to tears, to be honest with you.
All right. And with that, it's time for the entertainment and photo segment. That is sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code to learn more.
Okay. Here's a good movie. I know everybody I know loves the show Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Larry David and so
Yep.
forth. But he did have a movie a few years back called Clear History. And, it was kind of typical Larry David. It was almost like a 2-hour Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, but it was very, very funny, very Larry David. And because I brought up last week that one of my new favorite actors is John Hamm, right? He's in
Yeah.
this series I mentioned, Your Friends and Neighbors, on, I don't know, Apple TV or something like that. And he's very, very funny. He's also in Clear History. So that's a kind of a funny movie to watch. And I would recommend it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, here's my recommendation. Well, first off, America's Got Talent returns for its 20th season on Tuesday, 8 o'clock on NBC. And this weekend is projected to be the biggest Memorial Day weekend box office, with 2 great movies now in theaters: Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning with Tom Cruise, and Lilo and Stitch live action. I'm going to be seeing Lilo and Stitch later on this afternoon.
Okay.
So I got to make sure I'm part of this box office history, of course. So make sure you
it.
go see those movies. My pick for the week, though, Supermarket Sweep. I don't know if you ever seen the show, but it's a game show, and it's people running around with grocery carts, filling up a bunch of items and meats and all that kind of stuff, and trying to win money. It's amazing. I've been watching a lot of old clips on YouTube, and I'm like, how fascinating it is just see these like people just piling in turkeys into their carriage and stuff. I'm like, I want to participate in that. Like, so.
Well, you're the game show king, that's for sure.
Yeah, I want to be part of that show. That's for sure. It was an old
Yeah.
show, but yeah,
Yeah.
David Rupert. Yeah. Let's
All
get
right,
some
Eli.
photos.
Yeah, and listen, like I said, we were joking before that it's like it was in the 50s yesterday in New Jersey, but there's my roses, and like I said, I have the red rose bush from my mother, and I have the white rose bush from my neighbor's wife who passed away, and spring is here.
It's special. Yeah,
summer coming up, but how I like this one's very special to me. I've talked many times about my nephews and their, great careers at Wayne Hills High School, football and baseball. And, my nephew was recently the pitching coach at Rutgers, but this is all 3 of those nephews of mine, Brendan, Patrick, and Andrew, and my 2 daughters are in that. And that's also Steve's son and daughter, Emily. So
that's really nice.
This was last week, and these are very special people to me, and just wanted to post that up there.
That's awesome. And with that, we move along to notable passings. We got 2 of them for this week.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because we have the same 2.
Yeah, the same ones.
Yeah,
coincidence.
So, the first one, of course, is George Wendt, right? George Wendt,
of course.
Part of one of the great shows of all time, great comedy, Cheers. Maybe a little before your time, Eli, but
he died on the same day as its anniversary of the show, the finale anniversary, which was crazy.
It was the last show was 32 years ago last week. And he just a great character. It was just a funny character, but also, and he was only 76 years old, by the way. So I didn't realize he was that young when he was on the show. But he also, one of his finest pieces of work was he was on Saturday Night Live. They used to do the Bears thing with the Ditka and all that. He was part of that little skit that they did many times. It was really one of the funniest things I've ever seen on Saturday Night Live.
It was,
wonderful.
And the last one.
Yeah. The Colts owner, Jim Irsay, passed away. He was 65. And, he was, let's say, kind of a controversial figure.
He was.
Like I said, he took over from his father. He was the youngest GM in NFL history. He took over the team at 24 years old, passed away at 65. Had a, significant troubles off the field with
Right.
alcoholism and things like that. But you know, certainly notable from the NFL perspective. Like I said, you know, only 65 years old. So,
Yeah.
and there
And
was
it was
really an interesting thing that, you know, Peyton Manning had wrote about him, that, you know, he owed everything to Jim Irsay for
it
bringing
really
him to Indianapolis and letting him be the player that he became. And, you know, so that's a positive note on Irsay, when somebody like Peyton Manning
leaves you
says, you
that
know,
comment. Yeah.
he'll
It's
be
awesome.
really missed. Yeah,
And it
interesting.
really was a shock because he was posting on X in the morning, good luck to the Pacers and everything. And it just so happened in the afternoon, he had
Yeah,
passed away. It really came as like a shock, I guess you could say.
yeah,
So we uh, remember all those who have passed away. And of course, all those who have passed away who fought in our branches of military on this Memorial Day weekend. And with
yeah.
that, we
So
had a great show, though. We thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back next week at 10 o'clock next Saturday.
yeah, and Eli, I couldn't be more delighted. Like you said, we're now on Spotify. If you want to watch it there, people are
Yep.
still watching our show on Surge Sports,
And
Rob
YouTube.
Durante's show, and you know, certainly on our YouTube channel. You know, but I encourage all of our loyal listeners, hit that subscribe button
There
because
you
that's
go. Hit that
important.
subscribe, like the show.
Yep,
Whenever if you're watching on our channel, really helps us out a lot. And keep on watching. Recommend it to a friend and share it. It's a great show. Thank you for
yep.
watching. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we certainly do. And thank you for joining us. And again, it's Memorial Day, so remember what it's all about. Enjoy your barbecues and all, but just be thankful that we can have a barbecue. So, Eli,
Absolutely.
I know you finished up your career and graduation is next, so I'm excited for you on that front and your new chapter at Seton Hall. And we're going to continue this show for as long as I'm here on this earth. So,
Same here. Let's
yeah.
roll with it. We're very happy to continue on and let the next chapter begin.
You bet. So everybody enjoy your weekend and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you right back here
Next
next
Saturday
Saturday
at 10
at the
o'clock.
same time.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Bye.